Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to the Midweek Takeaway. Today we're joined by Leon Coetzer, CEO of Jubilee Metals. Welcome back, Leon.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you for the opportunity again.
So the company's just reported strong results for the year ended 30th of June 2024 with a 20.2% increase in revenue to $205.4 million, driven by significant growth in chrome and copper production. Chrome concentrate production grew by 20% to 1.55 million tonnes, while copper output increased 17.1% to 3,422 tonnes, meeting revised targets. Despite a 14.2% drop in PGM production, chrome's EBITDA surged by 154.3%, helping offset the reduced PGM earnings. The company continues to expand its operations in Zambia, including upgrades to the Roan copper concentrator, and plans to further boost processing capacity. Jubilee's strategic focus remains on scaling its copper and chrome operations, supported by a successful $16.5 million placing in January 2024. So just talk us through those numbers again and how you're happy, presumably, with the strong results.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, very much so. I mean, first and foremost, what it shows is the operational delivery. In South Africa, chrome being an absolute star, expanding already from its high base by another plus 20% in output. It was an intentional drive to offset early on the recognized sharp pullback in PGM prices. So we intentionally drove the chrome to offset those expected revenue plummeting in the PGM side. And that what makes Jubilee so unique, that in our South African business, we're able to deliver increased revenue numbers when in fact most companies in our space are reporting significant drop in PGM revenues. And we were able to offset that. And yes, of course, in copper, we faced a number of challenges that we had to overcome, as we've told the market. We had to overcome power challenges, logistical challenges, as we're expanding our processing capacity in Zambia, delivered Roan. It's now in operation, expanding Sable, and the copper numbers are starting to come through in the numbers now.
Yeah, and we've seen that ourselves. We've been at Roan. Obviously, we're talking to you from Zambia. So you're in South Africa at the minute. We're in Zambia. We've been to Mongolia and seen the open pit operations and the different things that are going on, which is close to Kabwe, which is where the big processing plant is for Jubilee, and also up to Roan, where we've seen the increase of Roan in terms of more equipment. I've had a lesson from Rikus on what oxide copper is and sulfide copper is. So now I actually understand a bit more. I'm not saying I understand, but I do understand a bit more.
I'm going to get the test sheet out later and give you a grading.
Yeah. So oxide we have to leach, and sulfide can go into the flotation and float. But you can actually get oxide out by flotation if you add certain chemicals, because it will then float, because you've kidded the copper into floating. So we've had a few lessons while we've been here, which has been very interesting. And I think when everybody sees these figures of 3% copper, 4% copper, 5% copper, this is not the whole story. And I think people need to start trying to understand this in the copper world, that this is not the whole story. You have to decide whether it is oxide, whether it's sulfide, and most of them are a mixture of the two. Yeah. So anyway, I'm waxing lyrical, but the results look good. But the real story is Zambia. And I think people need to understand the finances behind this. If Jubilee achieves its target of the 25,000 tons of contained copper, then effectively that's $250 million, which is more than the whole of the revenue for chrome and the PGM that you did this last year. So I'm sure, Leon, you are pushing the company in this direction for the benefit of all shareholders.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. I mean, if you look at our numbers on South Africa, exceptional job done by the team. And of course, as we told the market, we are launching 2 further processing units this year for chrome, so it's set to increase yet again. But yeah, you are correct. If you look at the copper side, the excitement that the copper side is bringing, that it's in that stage now where we have capitalized our processing footprint, brought it on stream, and now bringing into operation the resources we own. in Zambia. And as you correctly say, when our processing capacity is set to deliver nearly 25,000 tons and more of copper per annum, if copper prices maintain their $10,000 revenues, we set to more than double our company's revenue from that copper project alone. And I'm so happy that you guys were able to go and see the sheer size of these resources. Often that's a difficult message to get across for people to understand this scale of the operations that are coming into production now in Zambia to fill this capacity that we have built in Zambia. And of course, critically important is that all of that is underpinned by stable power. For those people who don't understand, in Zambia, that's a fundamental ingredient. Power in Zambia is a luxury. And we as a company now hold 100% of our power requirements being supplied by a private company who warrants the stability and continuity of that power. A fundamental shift.
I think I look at it as almost a de-risking side of things, because you've been fraught with power issues and you know, issues with getting the machinery and it's very difficult. You can't convey on a podcast how difficult it is to get these processing facilities into a steady state operation because of all the different cogs in the wheel, effectively. So you've got that at Roan now. You've got that going. You've shored up the Lucemfoy, you know, energy deal, the hydro and the solar. So you've got that sort of like continual power supply, which, as I say, when we've experienced it here in the last week, we've been hit with load shedding, power shutting down. So from a project point of view and the company, it's massively de-risked, surely.
Quite correct, Phil. It's a fundamental de-risking that even we underestimated when we entered Zambia at the time, how important that de-risking is. And it's only recently that the legislation allows us to actually secure and transmit power privately across the networks to our facilities to actually, as you say, enable us to run continuously. If your power is only up for 7 hours a day, you can't even, start up your facility, because there's so many components that have to start up and run consistently to produce copper at the right quality. So it's a fundamental de-risking that's happened as early as September.
And Phil experienced traffic lights not working for the first time in his life today. And as a person who lives in South Africa, you can have a laugh at that.
I felt like I was on the cover of like Abbey Road Beatles advert, just trying to get it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It gives you a sense of what the normal person, has to deal with day to day with, traffic lights as an example. But it means, though, that, small businesses are without power, restaurants are without power. It's very difficult for people to trade and do business without a stable power. We are very fortunate that we are able to have, as we sit here today as Jubilee, secure, stable power for our operations. And it's a great component, as Phil said, de-risking of our project. And what you've experienced in your visit is that we have an exceptional leadership team. We have our power resolved. We have quality, superb quality processing capacity that's been installed. And now we have our resources coming on stream, are the likes of Project Monkoy, and there'll be more Project Monkoys as we acquire more and more of these opportunities.
Very good. On that note, we'll say Leon Coetzer, CEO of Jubilee Metals, thanks very much for appearing on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Leon.
This podcast was brought to you by Roast PR Limited. If you would like to appear on a future episode of The Sunday Roast, please email admin@thesundayroast.net.